how many pairs of jeans, clothes, like total retail sales worldwide?
Well, we ended up this past year with 10 billion in sales.
10 million.
10 billion.
There can't be many businesses or industries more competitive than yours. But would that be a fair
A
statement?
lot of competition.
How long? How many years?
35 years.
35 years
Yeah.
you've been playing the game.
Yeah. But before I started Tommy Hilfiger, the brand, I had my own shops. I opened my own jean shops with my incredible savings of $150. And now this year we just ended with 10 billion.
Was that New York? You were in New York?
In New York, yes.
So how do you start a business with $150?
I had $150 from working in a gas station nights in high school. And I bought 20 pairs of bell-bottom jeans from the streets of New York City. I put them in my Volkswagen Bug. I drove 4 hours to my hometown of Elmira, New York, and I sold them out of the trunk of my car to my friends at a profit.
And so what do? You parlay that into what?
Then I opened a small shop in a basement of a shoe store.
You were how old at this time? Like when you did
I was 18.
18 years old.
18 years old.
So why jeans? Why 20 bell-bottom jeans?
Because at that time, it was early 70s, Woodstock, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, all the rock groups started coming to America and playing concerts, and I loved the way the rock stars looked. So I wanted to look like them. And I grew my hair long. I started wearing bell-bottoms and cool clothes because I couldn't play guitar to save my life. And I decided to sell cool clothes. And while I was doing it, my parents wanted me to go to college. I said, there's no way I'm going to college. I'm going into business for myself. They laughed. They said, there's no way. My parents were angry at me. My family and friends said, there's no way you'll make it. So after I opened my first shop, I decided to open a few shops on college campuses. Jeans, sort of candles, incense, cool stuff at the time. But during that time, I thought maybe I could build my own brand. And I looked at brands like Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, and all these brands, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I did it. And
so did you have, I can't believe you're here. Are you guys happy he's here? Okay. Like the ultimate scaling, like $150, an idea, Woodstock's around. How many of you that era? Okay, I know I was. I wasn't thinking about starting a business. How big's that empire? How many pairs of jeans, clothes, like total retail sales worldwide?
Well, we ended up this past year with 10 billion in sales.
10 million.
10 billion.
10 billion, yeah.
Billion,
I'm like,
billion,
okay, man.
10 billion.
And what do you think over your career?
Hundreds of
Hundreds
probably
and hundreds.
Hundreds of millions, but we have 2,000 stores in the world. We're in 192 countries. Our business is very strong in Europe and Asia. We're an American classic, but I'm never satisfied. I always want more.
Tell me about that. Tell me about never being satisfied. Oh my God, I'm in love with you, man.
So all of my whole team listens to two words I say to them every day. What next? What next? Because being in the apparel business, as Grant said, is very competitive, but I don't want to just be in the apparel business. I went into the electronics business recently. So we do headphones, speakers, earbuds, everything with the Tommy Hilfiger brand. I'm going into health and wellness, bicycles. I'm going into, of course, we have fragrance and home furnishings and everything that you would say builds a lifestyle brand. But I want to go way beyond that.
So what's driving you? Like, what is it? Everybody asks me this question, hey man, what's in your tank? What's in Tommy's tank?
It's fun. I love it. I love the challenge. And I love doing something that has never been done. I mean, my competition never went into electronics. My competition, fashion companies aren't going into high-tech bicycles. they're not going into the virtual digital world like I am. So I want to be first in the tech and the digital world as we marry fashion, entertainment, and I would say technology together.
So the day I met you, it was a Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago.
Right.
You didn't know who I was.
Well, I did because Oren.
Oren gave you a little. Is
Yeah.
Oren here? Did you see Oren?
I think he's coming by.
Okay. So I go to his house. His house is not for sale, by the way. And I go see it, but it was about a while back. So I go see his house on a Saturday. You want to tell them what you were doing Saturday, 3 Saturdays maybe, 3 Saturdays
yeah.
ago. What were you doing on a Saturday afternoon at your home?
There was a German TV station doing sort of the life story of how I live my life. I have a bunch of kids. I've got a beautiful wife who is also a designer. And, we're pretty normal, but we also live an interesting life, traveling all over the world and meeting different people. I do a lot of collaborations with people from the entertainment world, Hollywood, music world. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gigi Hadid or Zendaya, Lewis Hamilton. I've done things with Beyonce. I've done things with Jennifer Lopez. I've done things with
Grant Cardone.
The Rolling Stones, with Lenny Kravitz. So I like mixing entertainment, music, and pop culture into my brand. And I say that my brand stands for F.A.M.E, F-A-M-E, fashion, art, music, entertainment, and sports.
And so when you look at your world, like I see and I talk about this here, like it's like you've erased the line, probably more heavy on the arts than business. But it appears that my art is being moved with you, but I'm doing business with you as a result.
Well, I think you have to connect with the emotion of the consumer, and you have to give the consumer something that they don't know they want yet. And that's what we're always doing. What next? I mean, what does that consumer, what do people want to wear next? What color do they want to wear next year? What colors? The sneaker craze we were into 20 years ago, because my prediction was that most people were going to wear sneakers or soft-soled shoes in the future, and most likely people would no longer be wearing hard shoes.
Uh-huh. And do you wear other people's clothes, or is it all yours? Because I was in your closet.
No, I like to try other people's clothes because I want to see what they're doing right or wrong. Uh-huh. So I'm always very curious as to what other people are doing.
And so when you look at fashion, are you doing something? How much of that are you thinking about the business of it? Like, is this going to make money? Is that a consideration?
Well, I tell you a quick little story. I started my business when I was 18, but when I was 23, I went bankrupt with my shops, with my stores, because I didn't know anything about business. So at that point in time, I was so devastated, I decided to teach myself how to manage the business part of the business. And when I speak to students who are creative, who want to be a designer, or want to be in the fashion world, I say, learn about the business. And if you put the creativity with the business acumen, you'll win.
And what do you think the ratio is with the two? If it's not 50-50, what would it be? Would it lean more business? Would you tell people, the audience, to learn more about business or more about the thing?
I think for me, more about business, because the thing can jump on the business wagon and move ahead. But if you've got the business acumen and you're watching the profits and watching the cash flow, you can always find the right product to insert.
How important is that? When I came to your house, I had a jersey on that said cash flow. And you said, I like that.
I loved it.
Why do you love cash flow?
Because cash flow is how you're going to fuel your business with cash flow. You need to fuel the business with cash flow. Then you could do anything. You could advertise, you could hire more people, you could expand, you could do just about anything you want to do if you have the cash.
And you seem to have a great love for real estate. Like I know you own, I know you own some real estate. Like why do you like real estate? Is it the art of the real estate or?
Well,
Because what you did with this house here, if you guys ever look up a house in Miami, he has Golden Beach. Like it is a piece of art. Like literally, like it's amazing what you did with that place.
Thank you.
And when I walk in and I'm like, well, we can't. There's no way I could do this. Like you have so many colors in some of the spaces that I'm like, I can't even put two colors together. And this guy put 17 colors in the same room and it looks freaking brilliant. Like, is that just a gift?
It's an art in and of itself, but it's also a passion. And I also like the idea that real estate can be bought at a certain price and sold at a certain price. And I like the idea that you can always flip it for more if you're buying in the right location and the right property.
Yeah, but you don't have to hurt me, okay?
I think you got that down, Grant.
You think I'm all right?
I think you got it down.
So what advice would you give this audience about coming after the pandemic? How many people here are in fashion? Anybody here in fashion? Couple people? Let me hear it to next. Okay, so what advice would you give the fashion business and then the other businesses here?
Well, I think it's one and the same. Because I think that you have to have a dream and a passion, and you have to picture yourself being successful. You have to close your eyes and picture yourself being on Grant's helicopter and pretend it's yours.
How'd you see that?
I'm very well studied.
Yeah. You're doing your homework.
Doing my homework. So I no longer wanted to fly American and United, so I bought my own jet. And I pictured myself becoming successful enough to be able to do that. And I know Grant has done the same thing, but you have to have that North Star. You have to have that goal, and you have to go for it. And every time you get or hit an obstacle, you have to find a way around it, under it, through it, over it. But there is a way to get to the other side. You have to look at those obstacles as challenges. And once those challenges come forth, you have to take advantage of the learning experience they give you and also the opportunity. And opportunity is a big, big word because I take advantage of every opportunity. And people call me with business ideas. They say, I didn't think you were going to take my call, or I didn't think you were going to answer my email. Why not? I want to learn about what might be next.
Wow. So, come on. Don't be tired.
Thank you.
Don't be tired. Man, just keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. You got to love this man, okay? The fact that he's willing to come here and be with you says as much about him, but also about you. You guys pulled this guy in the room. I didn't do this by myself. A lot of demands on a guy like this, okay? Why did you agree to do this?
How did I?
Why did you agree to do this? You could be doing a million other things Saturday afternoon.
I love what you're doing, and I love the fact that it works. And you and, is it Brandon, your partner?
Yeah. Brandon.
I was watching you from backstage also, and I'm thinking, if I were a small business, a startup, if I were a business having some trouble, I would take that wheel home with me, and I would study it, and I would go step by step by step by step by step, because that is the yellow brick road. What they've laid out is going to lead all of you to success, whether you talk to somebody like me or not.
I could sit here and just talk to you all day, and maybe we will one day, but biggest disappointment. Like, is there one thing that you rolled out and you're like, this is going to be the freaking hit of the hits, and it bombed?
Well, sometimes I would say the biggest disappointment is listening to others. And in the early days, I walked into Bloomingdale's. You've heard of Bloomingdale's? And Macy's. And I showed the buyers my new ideas. And they said, nobody's going to wear logos. This was in 1986.
Wow.
And I said, I like logos. and I want logos to be on my clothes. And they said, nobody's going to wear them. You're never going to sell them. And I said, do me a favor. I'm going to give you a free rugby shirt with my name on it. Put it on the mannequin in the Tommy Hilfiger department, and we'll use it as a sign. Pretend it's just signage. I'm still selling that 30 years later. Wow. That logo shirt, worldwide. And by the way, my logo is my biggest asset because my logo is licensable worldwide for everything from beauty products, watches, jewelry, handbags. I can license my name to anything. And it is cash flow without putting a lot of effort into it. Because you license out, you loan your logo out to different companies that make what you're not making, and you collect royalties. It's like collecting rent.
Without the real estate.
Without the real estate.
That's brilliant, dude, like that. Where have you been my whole life? Who negotiates your deals? When you do a deal for a royalty maybe, or a house deal, or whatever it is, who negotiates the final terms of that deal?
I usually start the conversation, and then I hand it over to a business manager, a lawyer. I mean, I've got a whole in-house team of lawyers, accountants, and people who do that. So then they come back to me and they say, this is the deal. What do you think? And I'll say, well, what do you think? And then we decide whether it's a good deal or not and go back and negotiate. But, I mean, most of the time, when it's a global deal, I will negotiate. I won't negotiate, but I'll just start the discussion.
And so you have something in mind that you want out of that exchange?
Yeah.
And then you're sending them back and forth to figure out how to get there.
It's called cash flow. But I never want to give it to somebody who's going to damage the name.
Yeah.
And I want restrictions on them because I don't want them making something that is going to turn my customer off or
have you ever done a
anybody.
deal where you had to pull it back in and say, I don't want the money on that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
I did a deal for belts, and they were supposed to be leather belts, and I found out that they were leatherette. I found out they were fake leather. So I pulled it back. I mean, that's just one example, but there have been other examples, and you
pulled it back. You gave them their money back, and then just pulled out of the deal. Or
no, we had an out in the license where we could just cut it. But when I first started really thinking about my logo being an asset, came as a result of me watching other companies, and I was watching this company called Nike. Have you ever heard of it? And Phil Knight, the founder and chairman of Nike, had this swoosh. And underneath the swoosh, it's at Nike. And then in 1989, he dropped the Nike and just had the swoosh because everyone knows the swoosh. So I thought, someday I'm going to take my name off my red, white, and blue flag and hope that people recognize the brand. And today, we do research. 1 out of 10 people might not know the brand. So the majority of the world is very familiar with the brand.
And so Tommy, when you come on, guys, give it up.
That's a great logo, 10X.
You like that?
I like it.
What does 10X mean to you?
10 times.
10 times. Tell me more.
Look, if you've got a business and you're doing 10X, or if you've got a stock that's doing 10X, it's sort of like the sweet spot. It's the golden spot.
When you were picking the name, did you like, maybe I shouldn't put my name, I should put my name? Was that an easy thing for you to put your name?
No, I thought we should do Tommy Hill, which was my abbreviated name. And the guy who was financing me in the beginning owned a company called Gloria Vanderbilt Jeans. And he said, don't shorten your name. Wow. Tommy Hill sounds like a made-up name. use your real name. So, look, I'm sure a lot of people still call me Hilfiger, Hill something else, but I think the majority of people know the name is Hilfiger.
You've done pretty well. Johnny, do you have that video, Johnny? Ariel, ask if you have the video about the nobody, people didn't know who Tommy was. When did that video come out? The viral video about people didn't think Tommy Hilfiger was a real person.
A friend of mine did a TikTok.
Cue it up, guys. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's kind of funny.
Here he is in the flesh, Tommy.
Reading comments from people. Tommy Hilfiger is a real person? What? I was today years old when I found out that Tommy Hilfiger is an actual living person. Oh my God, I didn't know Tommy Hilfiger was an actual person. Somebody else said, I literally thought Tommy Hilfiger was from the 1800s and didn't think he was still alive. This is a joke, right? The fact that Tommy Hilfiger is an actual person that's still alive, I'm behooved. Tommy Hilfiger is a real person? Really? Why did I think Tommy Hilfiger died centuries ago? Tommy Hilfiger is trending because people are just now finding out he's a real person and still alive.
Thank you, Johnny.
I'm still alive.
Thank God.
I'm a real person.
That's amazing.
I'm still alive.
How about this? A guy builds a brand so big and so strong, people don't even think there's a person, a real person. You guys ever think that big? Huh? Right there. This guy built a brand out of nothing, out of an idea. That's what we're encouraging you to do today. Take your ideas, put them in action, and build something real, massive. How important is big think, Tommy, for the audience?
Bigger is better. You got to scale. You got to scale. You got to think big. Think beyond.
You got to scale. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
You have no choice. Otherwise, you fall into the wayside. In other words, you will backpedal rather than move forward. You have to scale. You have to think big. You have to think that you can do things bigger than you ever thought. And you have to always have that notion that I will never give up. Because it's easy to give up. And there have been so many times over the years when I thought, oh, what's going on here? We're running out of money. We've got bumps in the road in the early days, not enough financing, up to here with the banks. But I never gave up. And I think a lot of people give up. And those people are not in this audience, I'm sure.
Yeah, so for the people, right, that's right. Go ahead and commit, man. Commit. Give it up. Give it up. So somebody's out there thinking right now, man, I don't want to scale. I don't want to get big. Like, will you explain why it's vital that...
Because you've got expenses. In order to grow, you need more people. You need better people. You have to hire people who are smarter than you are. And you have to hire people who are as passionate and as driven about the business as you are. And you have to hire people who can help get you there, because it's not a one-man band. You're not an island. You can't do it on your own. But you need cash to operate the business in the most professional, efficient way. And you have to really pay attention to the numbers every day. And you have to continue to push ahead to build those numbers, whether you're selling widgets or sneakers. You have to push very hard to scale and grow the business. Otherwise, you'll never be big, and you may just go out of business. So if you want to be in business and be successful, you have to really move the needle forward, and you have to think big, scale big, surround yourself with great people, and never give up.
This guy, he ought to get on the business circuit. You should start doing business conferences like this, okay? I can't thank you enough for being here. I want to just thank you for the success that you've, for how many years? 35 years? Like, you give me hope that I can become someone.
I think you're there. I think you're.
No, I'm not there yet, dude. I'm not there yet.
I think this logo is a brand. 10X. I love it.
We should put it on your stuff, you know, like 10X with you. So I got to get some of your clothes too. I don't have any of your clothes, but I'm going to get it.
Should I leave them in the closet for you?
Please. I think we're about the same size. How important is it having somebody on the same team with you, having your team on the same team? And does that change over time?
Well, you saw the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I saw.
You saw Brady and Gronkowski, and
That's right.
they're on the same team.
They are.
I mean, that's why they won. You've got to have teammates, and you've got to respect one another, and you have to be transparent and honest with one another. We don't need yes people around us. We need people who are very honest with us to tell us what's wrong. Because if we find out what's wrong, we can fix it. If we don't know what's wrong, we're not going to be able to fix it.
Ladies and gentlemen, legend, icon, phenom, Tommy Hilfiger. Come on, give it up.